Black women feel like their base needs for height and dick size means more than a man's character, his resources, the kind of man he's going to be, the kind of father, the kind of network, the kind of legacy, all that other kind of stuff. All that stuff is secondary to your carnal base desires.
Relationship Insight for Men. I'm going to be leaving my comment for the end of the video. And if you guys do enjoy, please like and subscribe. Let's get into the video.
I'm just wondering why it appears that you want women to settle.
Oh, settle. What does that mean?
Settle for men that they aren't attracted to, meaning, shorter guys, less endowed men, just men that they aren't attracted to. So they're pretty much, settling for something that they really don't want.
Okay. Do you want to get married?
That's up in the air for me. I'm just wondering, like, just the whole thing of settling. Like, do you see that settling, or you don't see it?
Well, the question is important. Do you want to get married?
No, no, not really.
Oh, all right. Then you don't have to worry about it. Because, see, when you want to deal with another person, you're going to have to settle. You're going to have to pick. And they're going to have to settle for you, too. If you wanted to get married, are you a dime?
I'm average.
Okay. Then you can get an average man. And he's settling for you as average. But see, for some reason, black women feel like getting average when their average is settling. Are you average weight?
I'm about 140, 5'7.5", 5'8".
Okay, so you're about average. So you're about average weight. Well, normal weight. Black women are above the norm. So an average looking in the face. Okay, you're average.
Okay.
Why should average? Okay, let's take it away from you. Okay, not personal. Why would an average looking woman what would she need to have with a man who's a model?
Why would she need a man that's a model?
Yeah, we talk about height. So why would she need, if she's average height, why would she need a man who's above average height?
Because that's what she finds attractive. Like for myself, right? Let's say it's a woman myself that's 5'7.5", right? She's attracted to men that are tall. She's not attracted to short men. They admire her children, or not. I don't want to say children. They admire
that's bullshit. No children. You don't fuck your kids.
Yeah, that's not the right. That's the wrong word. Like not children. Like they admire her something. Like I don't know. I can't
the reason I asked the question is because women who don't want relationships, it doesn't matter, because if you don't want to get married, there's usually reasons why you don't want to get married. Why? Because most women want to be married and have a family. That's actually in your biology. So you're going against nature, how you were wired. And that's cool.
Well, the reason why I don't want to get married is because, someone really close to me died, and I just don't feel the need to get married. That's just something personal that, I don't really want to get into. But that's my reason for not wanting to get married. That's something totally different.
Therapy will help with that. But what I'm saying ultimately is life happens. My point is, I find it interesting. I think the more interesting question is why a woman who says that she's average herself, the words settle come out of an average person's mouth. See, you could say you're settling if you're fine. You can't be average and settle for nothing.
No, it's settling. Like
No, ma'am. You can use whatever word you want. You can't demand more than you are. You can want it. Okay, case in point. How about this? Let's say you were married. Let's say you wanted to get married. Okay. Mm-hmm. And let's say I wanted to get married, but I want a beautiful woman, and I'm a tall, attractive man. And you're the only woman around. If I wanted to get married and you're the only black woman, would I have to settle for you?
Yeah, if my looks are not up to your
right,
standard,
because you want to get married and move on, because there's something more than just your base needs. That's my point. Thank you. Black women feel like their base needs for height and dick size or penis size means more than a man's character, his resources, the kind of man he's going to be, the kind of father, the kind of network, the kind of legacy, all that other kind of stuff. All that stuff is secondary to your carnal base desires. And black women are at the bottom of the list as far as married, and divorced at some of the highest rate.
Right. You know why it occurs? Because black women do settle. Like,
No,
let me give you an
no,
example.
no, no,
Let
no,
me
no, no,
let me
no,
let
no.
me give you an
No, hold on. No,
example.
no, no, no. I'm not going to let you get that bullshit. No, 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 no. How many? How old are you?
I'm 33.
How many married couples have you been around? Have you've been single your entire life?
Yeah, I've been. I mean, I've been around
All right, but
various
I'm gonna tell you
couples,
right
but I was
now.
just going to get.
I'm
I was
no,
just going to
but
give
no,
you an
ma'am, no,
example.
ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm not gonna allow you to put that out there and not challenge it. See, that's a popular
Okay.
talking point. But see, I've been married not once but twice, and I've actually been over 3 singles ministries at church. That's not the reason black women get divorced. Did you watch Rebecca Lynn Pope, black woman right here on YouTube, black matchmaker? The reason she said she no longer works with women. Black women's unrealistic standards when it comes to a mate. So you could call it settling because you cannot get a freaking freak of nature. But that's the thing. You knew it before you even got in the marriage. So what you're saying is black women
Right.
get divorced because they married and they settle for the guy in the first place. I can't give you that, ma'am. Not 8 out of 10 not 8 out of 10 divorces being filed by black women.
Like, I know various women, right, who got married to a man. I'm referring to like a man who, because you said that an average look marry a man who makes average money, right?
Yep.
Or she can get, or a man who's, so I know a couple of women, right, who married. They were doing better than the man that they married, right? So they were making X amount of dollars. Their man was making a lot less. So after a while, they started to resent these men, and they started treating them bad, and they divorced them. And that's what's happening because
Hold
they
on,
feel like
hold
they're
on, hold on,
entitled.
hold on, hold on. Did they go? Did they move up to a better looking, higher earning man?
I mean, they
Nope. That's a
moved
yes or
on.
no question. That's a yes or no question.
Well,
Did they move
they're
on?
not
Did they move?
remarried. They are not remarried.
Exactly. They're not remarried. They're divorced and single. So they actually regressed. They left a marriage with 2 incomes because they started resenting a man because it's not like they didn't know he made less to begin with. They all of a sudden put a standard upon him that they felt he should make. See, far too many black women. How often do you watch my show?
I've been watching it for the last 2 weeks or so.
Do you think some of the women who call my show have realistic standards or unrealistic standards?
I mean, I think it's a little of both, right? Some of them are unrealistic, yeah, and some
Which
of them are
which women
realistic.
which women okay, which women over the last 2 weeks would you say have realistic standards? Which guest?
Which guess?
Yeah,
Like
which show
the
comes
people
to mind?
on?
Which show comes to mind when you say this woman that called in seemed like she had pretty realistic standards?
I mean, I can't think of particular,
Because they didn't.
names or.
Because they didn't. Because every woman that
Some
called
people.
in, no, ma'am. Because every woman that called into my show, who wants marriage, wants men that are in the top 1%. They want to stay at home. They want to be stay-at-home wives. They want to have 2 to 3 kids. They don't want to have to work to pay significant bills. They want to have a nice suburban lifestyle where the kids can go to college and all that good stuff. That means a man is going to, and I'm going to do a breakdown, an actual whiteboard breakdown, and show you where this $300,000 number comes from. $325,000. That's, I ask women, how much is it going to take to support that? You know, the average woman will tell me, oh, 80. The most anybody ever told me was 150. I'm like, no.
Well, I guess that's if you live. I don't know. You have to live somewhere far out. Make 150. Like,
But then you wouldn't be having a
yeah.
nice suburban lifestyle. The point is, the women don't even understand what it takes. I've broken down professions. I've broken down cities where these men live in. At the end of the day, it's a Disney-like dream. They don't realize they're going for the top 1% of men. If you've listened to my show, you will hear almost 100% of the women want 1% of men. And you say there's a little bit of both? Black women are more
Yeah.
black women are more unrealistic about their mate choices. That's why you hear the word settling come. What other race of women uttered the word settle as much or more than black women?
But other races do say this. That's the thing.
I
They
said
just
as
don't.
much or more. Go ahead and just name what race you talking about. Name white, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern. Which one?
I mean, all I can say is that I have friends from various backgrounds.
I asked you which
people
race,
say-
ma'am. I asked you which race says it is as much or more. See, I don't let
I
women.
guess black women. I would say black.
Exactly. And black women they say it the most and they're the least married. But because other women realize that, guess what? You're not going to get this impossible list of standards you want, like your black sister, Rebecca Lynn Pope, who's a matchmaker, whose job is to get people married, saying that this woman don't even look like me and don't have what I have, and she would turn down my husband.
But do you think that more that like in the long run, right? Let's say years from now, it's going to be more women that just want to be happy single. They're going to
No,
be single, hanging
no,
with their
no,
friends.
no, ma'am, no, ma'am. Okay, you want to? I'm trying to be as nice as possible. Maybe because of the mental position you're in right now, but no, ma'am. A woman's purpose on this planet is a man. Females cannot survive on the planet without men. You don't even have the hand strength to be able to construct a shelter and survive. You can't do it. Your purpose is to be with a man. Men, so that's the bottom line. And the only reason women can even try to be that kind of thing is because the government is the man. Who's the home you live in? You live in a house or an apartment?
I live in a house.
Who constructed that home? It wasn't your husband.
Who constructed the home? I'm not sure.
Right. But did you think it was constructed by a group of women?
No, probably not.
No, it wasn't. Do you think the architectural plans were drawn up by women? No. Do you think the plumbing, the streets, and everything else in that neighborhood was drawn up by women? No. The police and the fire department that service their community, is it dominated by men or women?
Men.
Right. If there's a bump in the night or somebody's coming to try to rape you, take your goodies, or hurt you, do you want a police officer to show up? Do you want that to be a man or a woman?
I hate to say it, but I prefer a man to show up.
Exactly, because you need men. Women. Hold on. So the ultimate point is, we have civilized the world in general to where women can actually act like you don't need us, and we have made the world so good you don't even realize how much you need us. But go ahead, what's your question?
Okay, but do you think that, because women are in a different position now, right? Like, we have so many women that are educated, that make a good amount of money. They themselves make six figures, right? So they're to the point where they can take care of themselves. They don't need a man for that purpose.
Okay, then so what percentage of women earn over six figures? What percentage of men earn over six figures?
I just know overall it's 10% of the population.
Right.
I don't know.
But
gender.
But by gender, you're talking about 4% of women earning. No, 6% of women earning six figures or more. So, and you're talking about women are working, making enough money to where they don't need men. Well, sweet Shayna, if that's the case, why do you hear my show with so many college educated, working career women who want to quit and have babies and never work again, if they love working so much?
Right. Like, I do agree. Like, a lot of women do not enjoy working a lot. I agree with that.
So how are you going to not work? So do you think more women want to get up and work and compete against men and the rest of the world, or do you think more would rather be wives, mothers, and let the men go out and work and compete?
I think that they would rather not have to work. However, I don't think that they want to go back to, like, to me, the way that you're speaking is like you want to go back to like the silent generation or something like that, and women don't want to be back in that time.
Why?
That's the thing.
Why?
So,
why?
Because
hold on. Let me ask you a couple of questions, sis. 2020. What was the best decade for black people in this country?
What was the best decade?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe way before I was born, I'm sure. I mean,
When people think about the glory days of being black, what decade?
I would think like way before integration.
Yeah, back. Yeah, right. The silent generation.
Right, but
hold up, sis.
Okay,
What do we have in the silent generation? We had black communities. We had black business. We had black church. We had black school. We had an 80% black family. Before integration, Dr. Claude Anderson talks about how when the Montgomery bus boycott happened, they didn't ride on white buses. His own family had a bus company. They had 500 buses. You had black newspapers, black everything. Integration effectively helped dismantle the black community. So you saying women don't want to go back to the silent generation? I'm sorry, sis. They do want to go back there. That was one of the best times. And that's at the height of Jim Crow, slavery, segregation, and everything else. But what I think you're
Yeah,
trying,
but the
hold on, but
silent
what I
generation.
think, but what I think you're trying to say is you don't want to go back there because you had less freedoms.
Right, right.
And what? Okay, and let me ask you, sis, what freedoms are you referring to?
Just like the freedom to be yourself and to do what whatever it is that you want to do. No one's trying to control you
Hold on,
and
sis.
treat you.
Hold on, sis. Black men controlled black women?
Well, men control women in general.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. I was
That's
very specific. Black men in the silent generation controlled black women?
okay. I will have to say yes. There's a reason
Oh,
why.
no. I'm going to the follow up question. What are you basing that on?
I'm basing it on the fact that the reason why we moved so far from that generation, right? Is because the boomers, they looked at the silent. What, I don't want to be like my mom, and they made sure that their daughters didn't have to be like
You
them.
oh now let me stop you right there. And guess what? My mother, who's a boomer, is now married at 53 years old. And you know what? She realized she made the worst decisions ever by listening to some of this feminist bullcrap because she really admired her mother. See, what you're trying to kind of put out here is back in the day, black women were controlled, dominated, subjugated, and or oppressed by black men. And now you're free. I'm sorry, sis, that color purple bullshit won't work here. Black men have never dominated, subjugated, and or controlled black women. That has never been our culture. Our culture has always been much more partner oriented. There has never been a time where black men had 100% patriarchal control over his community. You're talking a bunch of feminist stuff that does not even apply to our community. And it's sad because when I ask you about our history, you can't give me even specific things. You said you don't want to go back to the silent generation. And that's exactly where you think when the black community was at its height. Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, what came out of the 20s, the Harlem Renaissance. That's when black was good. Now, do you think it's good when we got 80% single mother rates, no fathers in the household? We got little girls getting hit in the face with skateboards. Would that have happened back in the 60s when men were controlling shit?
Kevin,
Would that have happened back in the 60s when men were controlling things? Answer the question, and then you can say what you like.
you mean would the boy have been able to hit a woman in the face with a skateboard and without any repercussions?
Yes.
That wouldn't.
Why?
Right, no,
Why would it not have happened?
because the older man would have put him in his place.
No,
What?
man. Here's why it wouldn't have happened. Number one, the young lady wouldn't have been out there around boys. Women were,
That's
hold on,
the thing.
listen, because we had standards back then. Boys were
Right.
with boys, girls were with girls. She wouldn't have been up there jaw jacking and talking to men like that in a disrespectful way. That little emotional boy wouldn't have been all emotional in his feelings. And let's say she did happen to be around them. Okay? He would have hit her, and those young men would have beat his ass. He wouldn't have had to wait to the
Right.
older men. The men would have destroyed him. Older men would have had to come get the young boys off of him. So you, for some reason, younger black women seem to think black men are these overlord tyrants, your enemies. And that is what's been fed to you by a media that's not favorable to us. I just actually rewatched The Color Purple last night and reread some of the interviews and articles that were in the Washington Post, Chicago Tribune, New York Times, how controversial this movie. Go look at it. Go Google it. You'll see some of the actual microfiche stuff. How devastating black men said this movie was going to be to black men's image, and they just kind of got blown off. But guess what? You're still talking to me about some Color Purple stuff right now. Black men have never dominated black women. You've never been beat on by black men. Not like that.
What I will tell you, Kevin, is right. Like I grew up right with my grandparents married, my uncles and all of my aunts and uncles married. My parents married. So I've seen generations, right, and I know that the men. Like, let me tell you how in my family, right, it was the men was doing their thing, the women were doing their thing. We had family gatherings, whatever the case may be, right? But I always thought that was like kind of a chauvinistic thing, and it's kind of like
Hold on. You thought it was a chauvinistic. So you come from a history of married families, and you thought it was a chauvinistic thing because the women were doing their thing and the men were doing their thing?
Because it was a situation where it's like, oh well, why when you come into the room and it's a group of men, they're looking at you like, oh, what are you doing here? You know, like,
Yeah,
you're
because
talking.
guess what? That's how it's
But
supposed to be. See, okay, sis, are you a man? You're not a man. See, this is a go watch Rebecca Lynn Pope's video. You are prototypical of what she's talking about. Men are not women. See, the very situation you're talking about, men and women and chauvinistic whatever, bred that little skateboard mouse smashing boy. You get a generation of softer men. See, what I think it is, ma'am, is sounds to me like you sound like a feminist to me, honestly. And you come from a married family and you've rejected the traditions. And that's cool. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Dead serious. You don't sound happy to me.
well, yeah, I'm not happy for other reasons.
Oh, well, right.
I mean, when you experience death of someone close to you, it's hard to be happy.
Ma'am, I've experienced, no offense, but I don't want to play the victim Olympics, but I've experienced death. I mean, I get it. But death is a part of life. But you know what? You get through it. You don't get through it alone. I'm going to tell you, ma'am, honestly, none of what you're saying is making sense, especially from your family. You've got some walls up, some barriers up. Have you gone into counseling for yourself?
Well, I've started recently, due to not being able to get past the death.
Well,
and so
I would say this. It's a hell of a lot easier to get through all that stuff with a loving husband. Oh, your loving goldfish or cat or bird is better? The myth of the black superwoman. That's what you are. You got it all. You don't need no nigga. You don't need no man. You can handle. See, here's the thing. Apparently, you're not being able to do it. See, women aren't made for this kind of stress. Women aren't made for these kind of burdens. That's what men are made for. You break down under pressure. We rise. The very thing you're rejecting is the thing, honestly, ma'am, you sound like you need. I think what it is you resent needing it because you feel like it makes you weak. Submission makes you weak. Settling makes you weak. Well, ma'am, I'm going to tell you, you don't sound very strong, nor do you sound very happy. Maybe you need to be weak or meek. Meek, not weak, meek. Strength under.
I don't think it's a thing of weakness. It's a thing of, like, I just don't like someone trying to tell me what to do or how.
So did the men in your family tell the women what to do? Where did this happen?
I mean, like my dad was really strict,
But no, not on you. Did he tell the women their relationships, not the kids?
No, I mean he didn't. No, he didn't like tell my mom what to do.
Then what are you talking about?
He was the head of the house.
Then what are you talking about, ma'am? You can't even. You come from married people, and the horror stories you're trying to put out here, you can't even support that from your life. A child judging adult relationships, ma'am. Stay in the therapy. I don't know what happened, but something got crossed here. Sounds like you came from a intact family who did it right. But this feminist shit is a mental. This feminism stuff is bordering on mental illness. Go look at what the women in the chat room are saying. You come from intact families, and you can't even tell me when black men were telling you what to do. Have you ever had a successful relationship with a man?
Successful as in I had a relationship. Like it didn't go into marriage. But,
well, obviously it didn't go into marriage, but was it successful? How long were you guys together?
My longest relationship was actually pretty long, 3.5 years.
3.5 years. How long ago was that?
That was a long time ago. When I was in my early 20s. Yeah.
In your early 20s, after college or before college?
Oh, after college. Yeah, after college.
So you dated somebody for 3.5 years. Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
Why didn't you guys get married after dating for that long?
I was immature. I can take the blame for that. He was a really good guy. He actually wanted.
Another post 30-year-old college educated woman who should have been married, average looking, comes from family. Ma'am, you are exactly what I talk about. And you came in here asking me, well, I just gotta know why we gotta settle and da. And it sounds like even you know. Goddamn.
I have more points, but I'm just not.
I don't care, but ultimately, I don't need to know your life story. But see, people are complex. You had opportunities. You were raised right. You came from a group of people that sound like they were raised right. You had opportunities. You blew them. They were blown. Whatever. And the questions you're asking me don't sound like don't sound like somebody who's learned. You're asking questions from somebody who sounds who should coming from no knowledge. This is a 16-year-old girl question, not a
The reason why I
33-year-old
asked the
question.
questions, like, it's because of the example I gave you of the women I know who got married. I mean, they dogged their husbands out.
But I don't. Okay, ma'am. And here's the thing. But you. Okay, those are the two. But you've given me so much more that worked. Why are you focusing on those two instead of your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, your aunties, your uncles, and all that other kind of stuff? The man you were with, all that good that you've seen in your life, and you focusing on these two shits over here.
No, I was just giving you the example.
Exactly. What you focus on grows. What consumes your thoughts controls your life. That's what you see. No one wants to be controlled and all this other kind of stuff. Well, where did black men ever control it? See, what sounds to me is like a lot of black women like yourself. No one's ever sat you down and challenged you. And now I'm just asking you questions about your own life, and it doesn't even line up to what you're trying to say. Again, you asked me, why do you think black women need to settle? Why do you need to do this? Because you would have a husband and you would probably be happy by now. Well, I know two women that settled and they weren't happy. But are they happy now? No. So they weren't happy in the marriage. No. Are they happy now? No. Well, maybe they needed goddamn therapy. The marriage wasn't the problem. Well, he didn't make enough money. That's what they said. Did you get his side of the story, man?
Well,
did you get his? Did you get his side? Did you get?
We're pretty close.
Okay.
He's the cousin of my sister's husband, right?
So you got his start. So you got his side of the story.
I got his side of the story.
Did he remarry?
But see, the thing is that
did he remarry?
Right?
Did he remarry though?
No, he hasn't remarried. This is a recent thing. They went through this in the last 2 years. This is recent.
Okay.
But the thing is that when you're a black woman, I'm gonna tell you, when you're a woman, you hang in a certain circle, right? And you see your girlfriends with their husbands, and their husbands are able to provide this and that and that. Then she's comparing her life to those women. She's like, oh, well, my husband can't provide. Hold
on, sweetheart. You with your girlfriend, and they're comparing to other people. Was the girlfriend that you talk about comparing her husband who couldn't provide? Was she gorgeous? She was average? Yeah, that's why she got an average man, because she's an average chick. See, again, wanting men out of your range and then coming down on a man for being what he is. What's your PayPal or your Cash App? I owe you some money because you made this show. I mean, seriously, sis. You gotta laugh because you're not talking about a dime piece. You're talking about an average.
She compare herself to my sister's husband. My sister's husband is.
And your thing is, your friend ain't fine. She married what she could get, and ain't nobody came along and married her since. And I guarantee you, ain't nobody gonna marry her because they gonna find out that backstory and be like, who is this woman that thinks she deserve all that? If you listen to
I agree. I never agree with what she did to him because I felt like, like you said, she knew from the beginning.
Well, if you didn't agree, then why you? You have. Oh man, you just sound like. Then if you agree, then you shouldn't have any of these down negative views. You see the worst.
What I was trying to say is that when this situation happens, this is what occurs. The woman feels like she's settled, she gets angry, and she's
So and again. Does that sound like an adult or a child?
Sounds like a child.
Exactly. That's why you need to be under men's tutelage. That's why you need to be under men, because too many women act like children when they're given freedom.
It is so funny listening to average women saying that they are settling for men. This is just a crazy statement, and they themselves are average. How does that make any sense? Back in the days, it used to be an average woman gets with an average man, a high-class man or woman gets together, so forth and so on. But nowadays, it seems like average is dirt, clearly. Because a lot of average guys are carpenters, they work in the construction, and a lot of times, these guys are making more money than the guys in suits. It is crazy to me hearing this conversation. And women nowadays are leaving relationships, especially marriages, and I'm talking black women, for sex and money. Not to mention they're talking about height and looks. So in other words, a black man especially is supposed to be perfect. And what do they come with? Just a vagina. Make that make sense. And this is why I see that Kevin is having such a hard time, especially with this young lady, talking to her, because a lot of what she's saying is pretty much the context of what I just mentioned earlier. There's nothing that they value in a man. Nothing at all other than his wallet, his dick size, and his physical looks, not his character or anything else. So in other words, when those things not working anymore, his dick size, or his looks is not the same way anymore, or he's not making the money he used to make anymore, what is it that they do? Leave. This is why the women of the past were such a much better makeup of a woman than what we have now. So sad. Anyway, guys, continue to support Kevin Samuel's channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.